Accountability journalism is important because it's about holding those in power accountable, which is our job as society's watchdogs. It's important because you eliminate or you try to help people, you try to achieve social equality, you try to achieve transparency and good governance, and these are basics for any society to flourish. In my part of the world, in the Middle East, unfortunately, most journalists prefer to be officials' lapdogs and not society's watchdogs. This is something very new in the region, and even the officials and society does not really understand that you have to name and shame officials if they are doing something wrong, because this is part of accountability. The chief editors in the 9 countries of operation, that is Jordan, Syria, Lebanon, Egypt, Iraq, Palestine, Bahrain, Yemen, and Tunisia, have something in common, and which is they don't want to be daring, they don't have the courage to stand up to the culprits, they do not like to lose their privileges. Most of them, you cannot generalize, but most of them prefer to be close to the authorities. They like to be pampered by them, they like to travel in first class and business class. They like to be invited to dinners and lunches with kings and ministers and influential people. And for them, it's a way of becoming important people in their own societies and eventually becoming ministers and officials or, opinion shapers. So unfortunately, most of them do not come from within the newsroom and do not climb up the ladder of this profession. They do not carry the values of an institution. They are basically parachuted into these positions, and their main job is to basically be the gatekeepers and to control the content. And I'm talking about official media and private media. There is nothing called independence, because the official media is the government mouthpiece. In some countries, it's the mouthpiece of the palace, and the independent media is not independent because the money is coming from businessmen or politicians with an agenda. So whoever pays the wages will basically get what he wants. So that you have to show example, you have to lead by example, you have to show the audience, the people that get the messages that, it is true that the media is in bed with officials, but this is not the right practice. The best practice is to have accountability journalism, because this is the only vehicle in which you guarantee a healthy society, in which there is a division of labor and in which journalists are watchdogs and not just barking there to please the officials. First of all, you need to have a culture that accepts looking into itself, a society that accepts soul searching and learning lessons. So far, society does not like to take a list of its own shortcomings. We need to have access to information. There are 3 Arab countries, Jordan, Tunis, and Yemen, that have just enacted laws, but these laws need a lot of revision, and even if we have them, we cannot access information because there are other laws that prevent us from doing that. There are the state secrets, the law on state secrets, and this is superior to the FOI law. So in Jordan, for example, there are 26 laws and regulations that basically govern a journalist. So, you're constantly working with a sword on your neck. But again, a lot of journalists are very comfortable in the red lines, the imagery red lines that they have drawn for themselves. And they just, want to be a bit below the red line. They don't want to risk it because they're even not rewarded by their institutions. They're not supported by their institutions. They have lousy, very bad salaries. There's no motivation. And in the end, they look at their chief editor, and he has nothing to do with the job. He's just a functionary. So there is no example for them to follow.